Madam Chair, I believe we are ready to begin the meeting.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So let's begin with the mission. The mission of the Meridian Arts Commission is to develop, advance, and nurture all facets of the arts to enhance the quality of life for Meridian residents and its visitors. So with that, let's do a roll call of attendance. Lizzie? Here. Jessica? Natalie?
Here.
Bonnie, I'm here. Bobby?
Here.
Patrick?
Here.
Jennifer?
Here.
Thomas? And Rhea?
Here.
Alrighty, I need to ask for an adoption of the agenda. Could I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, I move we adopt the agenda.
A second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? The agenda has been adopted. And next item is the approval for the minutes of the February 10th meeting of the Meridian Arts Commission. Could I have a motion to approve that?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the Meridian Arts Commission meeting minutes.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes have been approved. Number 2 is the approval of the monthly financial statements for February 2022. Could I have a motion, please? Could I have a motion to approve the monthly financial statements?
Madam Chair, I move we approve the monthly financial statement for February 2022.
And a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The monthly financial statements are approved. Under new business, item number 3 is the update of the commissioners' appointees.
We'd like to welcome the new commissioners, Bobby Gaitan and Patrick O'Leary. Would either of you like to make a short statement?
Oh, hey. No, I just want to say thanks for just having me on board and looking forward to working with everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Bobby. We're delighted to have you on the commission. Patrick?
I'll just reiterate what Bob said, that thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to learning a lot, getting educated here, and seeing what contributions I can make.
Thank you, Patrick. We're looking forward to hearing from you, what your expertise is also. Anyway, welcome to the commission, both of you. And I hope you enjoy your time that you will be as part of the Meridian Arts Commission. Number 4 is the presentation and sponsorship request. Kevin Nielsen of Huckleberry Star Theater. Hi, Kevin. Thanks for coming.
Are these on? Do we need to hit anything? Are we good to go? Okay, perfect. I want to do some quick introductions. We have a presentation as well that if we can get that pulled up, we'll be able to share that. But I'm Kevin Nielsen. I've been here in the Meridian area for about 12 years and have loved every minute of it. I have some roots way back. My great-grandfather was the editor of the Meridian newspaper. Ran a little dairy farm down where my dentist is now on Eagle Road, but back then it was called Route 20. So my grandfather was the principal at CUNA High for a little bit. My dad was born in Nampa, so it feels like I'm coming home, even though I've been here just a short while. And this is Jason Hessing.
Yeah, Jason Hessing, pleasure to be here. Thanks for your attention this afternoon. I'm also native to the area, and I have lived here in Meridian for just over a decade. My kids have gone through Renaissance and also Compass Public Charter Schools. I've served on the board at Compass for a season as well. And have some longstanding roots here as well. My grandpa Jim Hessing started the Boise Motor Village back when people said he was crazy because there was nothing out there. And my grandfather on my mother's side started Dunkley Music here in town. So lots of roots, and thrilled to get a few minutes of your time today. All right, so we're just going to take you briefly through an exciting thing that not a whole lot of people are aware of, but we do have a new theater experience in Meridian that we're going to talk to you about today. And if we could go to the next slide, please. Do we have the power?
You have the ability to advance. Use the up and down arrows. They work best.
There we go. Oh, whoops. Yeah, relaunch it. There you go. That's where we want to be. Okay, we'll see. So if you take a look at this picture here, this is in Kevin's front yard, actually, in South Meridian. And here is our cast from our debut season last year, 2021. And we're rehearsing here, as you can see, at the theater that we built in Kevin's front yard, basically. And we'll have more on that in a minute. But I just want to give you a picture so you have this in mind. This obviously isn't where the story begins. So we'll progress here. The story starts with Kevin and I and our spouses, two theater-loving families here in Meridian. We live on opposite sides of the freeway. Theater brought us together, and we, through many conversations, started to really recognize a gap here in Meridian. And there just isn't enough family-friendly theater right here in Meridian. And so we started to think about this, and mostly we just wanted to get our kids off of screens. And so we banded together and decided we would pull together some local talent and give it a go last year and see if there was an appetite for another local theater company here in Meridian.
Maybe just to add quick to that, my wife and I have been talking about it for about 5 years, like somebody should, and then finally we looked at each other and said, we're somebody. Why not us? And so last year was our start.
So as with anything, it's so important that you're grounded in your vision. And this is really the threefold vision that we corralled around. So first and foremost, we want to foster close-knit, long-lasting communities among cast members and patrons. We want to encourage face-to-face participation in live performing arts. And in doing that, create a safe space where risks are taken, skills are developed, and comfort zones are expanded. I can see my teenagers rolling their eyes right now when they hear those words, but they enjoyed it actually more than they thought they would. And then lastly, to increase family-friendly musical theater in Meridian with some of the best-loved musicals. So that was kind of our foundation that we formed as we put together our vision. I did want to just pause here and mention, I think it's so important that we remember, and I love the way Kevin puts this, that without arts, we're just another suburb. So to kind of put soul in our city, we need to have the arts. I love the way the Urban Institute report puts it. Arts and culture are key to cities' vibrancy and quality of life. And we absolutely believe that. And we've seen that in our debut season last year, just the energy and the excitement when you bring people together to create something together that's fantastic.
So, question, why in the middle of COVID would anyone launch a new theater? So we started looking around. Jason and I have acted on stage together. My family and I have been doing theater out in Nampa for the last 4 years. I did Playmill Theater up in Yellowstone many years ago. And my kids really, really loved it. And so we got back into it, and I had not remembered how much I enjoyed it until I got back up on stage. And I felt that energy, and I saw what it did for my kids and to have them change and become more confident. This year, my son actually is taking some major roles as a child actor. He's only 11, and we are so excited for him to have that confidence to do that. But we've been watching Meridian grow. So like I said, we've been here 12 years. When we got here, we were still a little bit smaller than Nampa, and now we're much larger. Meridian just exploded. It's been amazing to see the growth. And so many people have moved in with so much talent. And so there's more demand right now than there is any kind of supply for people as an outlet for this, especially when it comes to families. I think West Ada does a great job with their programs. I see the Treasure Valley Children's Theater, right? We see some of that out there. But as far as community theaters, look at this long list, and none of them say Meridian, Idaho on them. We said, okay, it's time. It's time for us to do something in that. And I've actually seen shows at every one of these except for Stagecoach, and enjoyed going out to all of them. I mean, there's also, of course, the Boise Music Week. I think I missed that on here. But it's exciting to see that there is a demand for this. And that's where we came up with the idea of why now. So again, another shot from the theater at night. What was our parameters in our first year? So last year we said this is going to be a big experiment. Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? So we decided to go with an outdoor venue because no one was renting space from COVID. So we said, okay, let's try and keep people safe. Let's involve as many people as we safely can. We spaced the chairs accordingly. We had all the approvals from the Ada County, et cetera, to make sure everything was kosher. But we focused on casting family members together because we found there's a magic to having, people that I couldn't justify being on stage as much as I am if my family wasn't involved. I couldn't leave them home for, every night for rehearsal. So the goal is to get the families together and create that shared experience, make it enjoyable for all, and to break even if we can. So that was the goal going into it. Some of the results, we were so excited that we had such a response. All 3 of our shows were sold out. 300 plus audience members came. They parked on the bottom 3 acres of my property, and we had the stage on the top acre. And it was an exciting experience. The weather cooperated until after the last show. We had a downpour, and that was really exciting. We were trying to do tear down. But we had the pressure washer the next day to clean things up. But we had more than 80 people audition. So being a no-name theater, no one knew anything about us, and people just came out of the woodworks. They were so excited for this, so hungry for it. We were able to cast 48 cast members. We had 17 supporting staff. We had 13 sponsors and donors in our first year, which was just phenomenal to see. And we sold over 309 bags of Huckleberry Caramel popcorn at the Huckleberry Star Theater. And we got that here locally as well. So we're trying to support local businesses as much as we can. Our printing came from a local place. As much as we can, we're trying to involve the community and involve people around in local businesses. And then, to our surprise, neither of us put in for these awards, but someone put us in for a bunch of awards. And there's so many that we won. We were just overwhelmed by the response. It was a really, really good show. I don't know if anyone was able to make it. I know we did try and send out. Patrick, you can? How was it?
It was great. It was great. It brought back memories of my starting out in theater. So fabulous.
Yeah. And we really wanted to focus on the cast enjoying the experience and have that come out to the audience. And so one of the best things we did too, I don't have it up here, but we actually sent out a survey to all of our cast members saying, how was it? How was the experience? And the response was so overwhelming. In fact, many of the cast members are going to each other's performances at high schools now. I mean, we just created a really amazing experience for everyone. So long story short, right, coming back to where we started with the rehearsal, here's our cast photo of all the people that we were able to involve in this show. And we were so excited to do it. We started this out, again, we're not trying to make money with this at all. Most theaters don't. The goal really is to involve the community and see what we can build here in Meridian. So going forward for this year, we're going to do the Music Man. So we're looking for someone to try out to be Hugh Grant. Just kidding, he's playing it on Broadway right now, which is really exciting. Our director wanted to know if we had enough budget to do a field trip. I said, probably not. Unless we get a really good sponsor. But on the 16th to the 20th, we'll do it one more time out on my property. And then the goal in 2023 is, hopefully as COVID dies down, we'll be able to go and rent some spaces around. I mean, we would love to hear plans from the Meridian Arts Commission that there's going to be a new venue created for all these wonderful community places. Plant that seed. For right now, we've got the Civic Center in Nampa, we've got the Morrison Center, and it feels like there could be something in between those. So just something to think about. But our goal is to expand to 2 or more shows per year going forward, just to create more opportunity. My worry is we're going to have to turn away people this year that really could have been up on stage if we had more opportunity to pull them on. And we're really excited to see that happen. So we're here really to tell who we are, but also to start conversations about, who do you know that we could work with, who's interested in helping to sponsor or has ideas of where, as far as locations, et cetera, knows of people that want to get involved, and that we can start creating that, taking that energy and put it into more and more of a community theater here in the Meridian area. So we'd love to ask questions, and
Do you have some sponsors now?
we do. And we continue that. I mean, we're here to ask for sponsorship as also here if you would want to consider that. We'd love to have your name up there as one of our sponsors. But yes, we are definitely looking for sponsors. The more sponsors we have, the more we can do, right? It's because right now it's out of my pocketbook, Jason's pocketbook, that we're just trying to make this thing work. Luckily, this last year, the ticket sales and the sponsorships was enough to cover it with a little left over for us to invest for this year. But we're hoping to continue to roll that forward as we move on. Yeah.
Looks like I'm sorry I missed the production last year.
We somewhat flew under the radar, but it filled up so fast that we stopped advertising because we didn't want to, disappoint people that they couldn't come. This year we're going to do 5 shows. Last year we did 3, so we've expanded a little bit to see, if we can get more people that can experience it. We'd love to have each of you there. It'd be so fun to have you come take a look at it, experience it with us.
Does anybody have any questions of?
Yeah, I do,
Please.
just out of curiosity, who chooses what you are going to say?
Oh.
The Music Man has some little iffy parts to it, trouble that starts with P and that rhymes with P and that stands for pool.
Uh-huh.
So who chooses the production?
That's a great question. We actually do consider quite a few things. So the producers, and then we try and find a director that's interested in that type of production, so we get their input as well. So this year we chose our director, and then the 5 of us sat down and said, here's some top options. Our goal again is to involve people from every age group. Most plays have more men's roles than women's roles, so we're trying to balance that as best we can too, because there's always more interest from women coming into this. And so we think through that, and we also think through what the messaging are and what makes a family-friendly show. The good news is that there's a lot of leeway when we work with the licensing companies to say, how can we take out, for example, this last year, one of the biggest challenges with Annie Get Your Gun was the American Indian influence in that, because there's a chief sitting bull and a whole bunch of things. And so we had to be very careful who we cast into what role. They had to actually have some some ancestry in any role that we casted in a Native American role. And we had to change a few parts of the songs to make it, more acceptable and tasteful is probably the best way to say that. We wanted it to be a positive experience for anyone that came, and so it's interesting to see as you look at different shows and what's in them. It narrows the field pretty quickly sometimes. Great question. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I do. It's weird hearing my voice over speakers. Sorry. What's your budget for this year and your earned versus unearned income projection?
Yeah. So our budget's typically around $25,000 to put on a show.
Okay.
And that includes everything from, the venue, chair rentals, facilities there. And then we also have, the cost for the costuming, the set design and build, et cetera. So it's around $25,000.
Okay.
It takes to put on a show in our current venue. As we look for the future, we're hoping to have, be able to rent maybe in the West Ada space, or if you know of other locations we could do close by. We're trying to stick towards Meridian as much as we can. But that's been our goal.
In your earned versus unearned income last year and what you're looking at this year?
Yeah, so we had a surplus of about $6,000 from this last year that we put towards that's about exactly what it cost for us to get a licensing for the Music Man for this year. So we just rolled that forward. So that was our net difference between what the sponsors brought us and the ticket sales.
Okay.
Ticket sales covered about half of the production cost, a little more, about 60%, and sponsorship made up the rest.
It's not bad for a first year.
No, we were very excited.
Thank you.
Yes. Hi, Bobby here. I just wanted to see, ask of, in terms of marketing, like how does that typically work? And then as far as like our sponsorship, or sponsorship opportunities, is there like places where it gets presented throughout?
Absolutely. Yeah. And this was in the packet, but I bought hard copies as well. If I can hand them out real quick, if that's all right.
It is also attached to the meeting agenda.
Yeah, no, we try and definitely highlight our sponsors. So we actually print color programs. They fold in half. So it's a full page ad would be like half of a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And that's what we're offering up to you. What we're looking for, and then we also have our website. So our website's out there. We have Facebook, we use Instagram, and then also the curtain speech out there where we thank our sponsors and highlight them. Happy if you've got something with a banner on it that you want us to post, we're happy to do that as well. I mean, there's a lot of different options as far as getting the Meridian Arts Commission's name out there. We'd love to be able to highlight our sponsors and everything we do. So, yeah, great question.
Do you have a tier structure for your sponsorships?
We do,
And
we do,
is-
yeah.
Do you
So-
have that off the top of your head or?
I do, yeah. So the full page ad would be $1,000. And then half a page would be $500 is typically what we add. And then if you go above the 1,000, that becomes a major sponsor, and we're happy to discuss however you want to do that. But yeah, anyone that hits the $1,000 range or above ends up in the curtain speech and full page ad, et cetera, and sponsored at the top on our website. Yeah.
Are you guys a 501c3? Have you filed that
Not
yet?
yet. We're thinking about it. We wanted to stay simple the first couple of years, but we're definitely thinking about that.
Is that something that's important to you? We'd love some feedback on, if you consider that.
Well, I only think about of it from the standpoint of being a 501c3 opens up the NEA. I mean, and grants,
Yeah.
and getting that grant revenue, and that category of your unearned income is what most theaters, community theaters and regional theaters survive on. You know, and I think for most theaters I've worked with, it's on that average of 60-40 or 70-30. That 60% is earned and 40% is sponsorships, donation, grants, and that. But it's something you really can't get without being a 501c3 unless you go, and I don't know, I'm too new here. I just moved here. If there is, and I don't know, you guys might know this, whether the, if I get this right, the Meridian Foundation, I know they're a nonprofit, but have they ever done umbrella setups, which is, you could talk to them. There might be another organization, nonprofit, that can get you started with that, but they serve as an umbrella for you until you get your 501c3. And as that umbrella, then you can apply for grants under them. So you could apply for a grant with the, is it the Idaho Commission on the Arts? Okay. And that would allow you to find funds that way. And I would think too, if there are funds available through the Meridian Arts Commission, they would have to be a 501c3 or no?
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, to get a grant from, I don't know the answer to that. Sorry, I don't know how much grant funding is available from the Meridian Arts Foundation, but you could certainly ask. I do think you'd have to be organized as something, either a nonprofit under the Idaho Secretary of State or a 501c3.
Yeah, let us know on that for sure. Like I said, we're debating that. We wanted to keep it simple for now, but understood, sometimes we have to create the right structure to make it work. And we're definitely considering that.
Great.
Definitely would open doors.
Oh, absolutely. I've been, yeah, and for, I mean, there's and I'm sure you guys know, there's then a lot of registering that and then keeping track. But in starting out, I mean, your taxes as a 501c3, it's a real simple, easy form. There's like one page that you do.
Madam Chair, again, Commissioner, is that a question regarding the Meridian Arts Commission or the separate Meridian Arts Foundation? I guess I don't want to mix them up.
To clarify the question, I believe the question was, would an organization need to be a 501c3 in order to receive funding from the Meridian Arts Commission?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Generally, no. The city and the Meridian Arts Commission does contract with other individuals even and organizations of all kinds. And in some cases, organizations that are not registered either with the Secretary of State or with the IRS. But where we're spending city money, we do need to keep an eye on that. However, the nonprofit designation is that's not a deal breaker for the commission.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Cassandra, do you have anything that you want to add?
I don't think I have anything that I would like to add. I think the sponsorship request is something that we would probably discuss in an upcoming meeting. And great work. Hope I can visit one of your shows this year.
Absolutely. We'll keep you informed for sure.
Thank you for coming and presenting your programs, and I think it's wonderful.
Thank you. We appreciate the invitation. Nice to meet you
Thank
all.
you.
And feel free to contact us outside as well. If you want to individually or however, we're happy to chat with any one of you. Thank you.
Thanks so much. The number 5 on the agenda is consider artwork for city acquisition, Joan Thomas, her Meridian Mill painting. I think everybody should have a visual of that piece in your packet. Any discussion?
Madam Chair, I hate to be the wet blanket, but I'm very good at being a wet blanket.
Commissioner Taylor, could you turn your microphone on when you?
Is that better? Is that better? Yes. Okay. I don't know the artist, and that has nothing to do with anything. But in the very last paragraph of the thing on the flip side of the art, it says, note the traffic warning sign at the side of the building, which I affectionately changed from do not enter to do enter. I understand why she did it. I think it's kind of cute, but I don't like cute an awful lot in art. And I'm a little bit annoyed by the fact that rather than just leaving the sign out and making some sort of a statement, that she chose to alter a sign. Again, it's wet blankety, but that's who I am today.
Any other comments, considerations, questions?
Madam Chair. Bobby here. Does the city own any barn, like this image? Do we have an image of this that we own similar to this? I'm just curious.
I believe we do.
Madam Chair, that is correct. We do actually, the city does actually own a somewhat similar piece of the Zamzows Mill. It's currently on the second floor. So that might be a consideration.
Madam Chair, out of naivety, how's the process of this coming up? So that of consideration for this?
So this piece of art was in last month's gallery exhibit. I think it was last month, or maybe it was
December.
the
January.
previous month. And she had offered it to the city as a gift. And so
Correct.
whether we,
And just
we're the first approval body, is that correct?
So just to, I did attach, there's kind of a lengthy, more legal looking document to the agenda, but just to kind of go over that, and Emily, correct me if I'm wrong about anything, but the process for gifts and donations is that the initial sort of thing is goes to the arts and culture coordinator, and then, which is me. And then I look at it to sort of determine, does it look like it's within the character of what Meridian would accept? And do we have resources to hang it? And so I thought that we did. And then, yes, the Meridian Arts Commission is the preliminary body that sort of looks at it for approval. After the Arts Commission, if they recommend to approve, then legal would draft an acceptance agreement with the artist. And then the mayor would look at it, and then city council would look at it for approval. After that, I also, not that that's in some of the documents, but I did just want to talk a little bit about the city's art collection and how that's managed. Currently, the Arts Commission and this position of the Arts and Culture Coordinator does not have the capacity or the authority to manage that collection. It's housed within finance. So finance looks at it sort of in a similar way to furniture and other fixtures and equipment. It's as a city asset. And that's how the city art collection is currently managed.
Are we expecting a approval from the commission on this today? Or
Or a recommendation either way. And then I will let the artist know either way.
Madam Chair, Cassie. So as she's offering it as a gift, we're not purchasing the art. We are just accepting her gift and hanging it in City Hall. Okay.
Correct.
Madam Chair, one addition to what Cassandra said, so the Arts Commission does make a recommendation, but the mayor himself will make the final decision. And if he says yes, well, if he says yes, then that's when the agreement is done. So your recommendation is to the mayor, either way, accept or no, thank you.
Bobby?
One last question. If an artist decides to donate a painting every month, just hypothetically, or do we have like, do we vote on a painting like if somebody donates it as they come? Is this typical? Are we getting, or do we usually get artwork from artists, and do we vote on it, and therefore?
In the time that I've been here, we have not had a piece of art that has been donated that I remembered. Emily, maybe you can address that. I don't remember that we did.
Madam Chair, and from what I can remember, we have received one other gift, and I believe it's in the mayor's office. No, I can't remember where it is, but I probably see it every day. But I think occasionally there is a less formal gift that's truly just someone drops it off, really. But this is an offer that can go through our gift policy. The first donation was one that inspired the gift policy to make sure, well, most organizations have such a thing, to make sure there's a process, and honestly, to make sure there's a way to say no, thank you. But to answer your question, it is very rare.
So I guess the question that I have is the issue of the the do enter, do not enter. Is that something that's going to be an issue? Or, I mean, I guess we could ask the artist to put the not back in the sign so that it's an accurate representation. When I look at this, I mean, it's a very representational piece of art. So, to change it, this seems a little odd to me. And, to ask her to put the not back in there might not be a bad idea, because then it would really represent what's there.
Madam Chair, this is Jessica. I just want to chime in and note, Bobby, that was pretty astute of you to ask whether we already have a piece that's like this, because I thought I remembered that we did. And given that we already have a piece that has the same subject, I'm sort of inclined to think that maybe we don't need another one with the same subject. There's lots of things out there to paint. And it's lovely, but we can also look outside on our way to and from meetings to see the actual building. So that's my 2 cents.
I suspect, from the artist's standpoint, that she probably was painting an iconic piece of structure, and that's why she was offering it, because it sort of appears to be on our grounds, so to speak. I mean, right next door.
Madam Chair, I would, I kind of think similar, alongside Jessica and Lizzie. I don't think it's worth asking her to change the painting. I think we would just say no, thank you.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I would agree with that. To me, an artist paints something and you either accept it as is or, don't request them to then adapt.
Except if it's commissioned.
I mean, it's
Only if it's commissioned.
discussion for whatever her choice was for doing that. It's, as an artist, that was her choice.
We want to vote then? So I think we should vote whether to accept, we will vote whether to accept the piece of work as it is presented.
If I do this right, I'll make a motion to not accept this donation based on the fact that we have there's an existing piece the city owns.
Motion has been made that we do not accept this piece of art for our permanent collection based on the fact that there is a similar one already in the collection. All in favor?
Madam Chair,
Oh,
could someone second
We
the
need a
motion?
second. I'm sorry, could I have a second on that motion?
Madam Chair, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, this piece of work will not be accepted. We will not recommend that it is accepted into the permanent collection. Number 6 is review and approve the 2023 Initial Point Gallery Call to Artists. And I believe that was attached to the, in your packet. Is there any discussion in regards to the call?
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the call to artist as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? The 2023 Initial Point Gallery Call to Artist, as it's written, is approved. Number 7 is a consideration for budget approval, or for budget approval of the American for the Arts membership for the Meridian Arts Commission. Cassandra, do you want to talk briefly about that? And
Americans for the Arts, if you're not familiar with that organization, is an amazing organization. I know Commissioner O'Leary actually mentioned that he's been has an account, but not a membership. So anyone's welcome to get their individual memberships. I am presenting this as an organizational membership. It would cover 10 people, so everyone would get a login. I attached a packet to the agenda with all of the things that would allow. There are some things that you can access for free, but some things do require a membership. There's a large database of webinars and listservs and access to information. Do you have any questions? Oh, and I should also say, if you look back into the budget, there is a professional development line, and it's $2,000. So this would be $300, which is one way to use those funds.
thank you. Does anybody have any questions about that membership?
Madam Chair, this is Jessica. I just want to chime in and say that I also have a membership. I've had one for the past couple of years, and they offer a lot of great webinars and access to all kinds of resources, and they have a public art network specifically for public art. There may be some other groups like that too for other areas of the arts, and I think it's really valuable, and would recommend that anyone who's involved with the arts, like all of we are, I'd recommend having a membership and having access to the content there. I think it's a wealth of information, and at a time when we're thinking about how to grow and how to find other resources and connect to other artists and art administrators, I think it would be really important for us to make use of the resources that are available there. So.
Thanks, Jessica. If there's no further discussion, could I have a motion to approve the $300 budget approval to purchase the American for the Arts membership?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the budget amount of $300 to cover a group membership for all of the commissioners to the Americans for the Arts.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. All in favor of this purchase?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's been approved that we will get the American for the Arts membership for the Meridian Arts Commission. Number 8, another budget approval, traffic box cleaning inspections, damage and assessment reports. Do you want to talk about that again, Cassandra, please?
Sure, yes, Madam Chair. So this is something that came to my attention as something that the Boise City Department of Arts and History contracts with Primo Cleaners to, they come out to each and every traffic box. They clean them with soap and water. They remove any graffiti. They remove stickers. They do an assessment for tears, rips, stains, fading, and then they send all of that information, and it's $30 per traffic box. Currently, that is not something that we had a specific budget line item, but there is, let me see if I can remember what the budget line item is, but there is funds to do it within our budget if we would like to. One option would be we could select half of them and do half of them one year and half the other year. There are approximately 60 boxes, so it would be $1,800 to do all of the boxes. So looking for how you would like to, if you would like to, and then how you would like to do cleaning, if you would like to do the cleaning and maintenance of the traffic boxes.
Does anybody have any questions?
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
Jennifer?
do you know, or does, yes, do you know the traffic boxes are in? Like how far spread out, how far spread out are they?
within the city limits, but I don't,
The urban renewal area traffic boxes are tightly sort of centered in the downtown core. Those are mostly the West Ada School District pieces, and then the other ones are spread out throughout the city. One really great way to look at them, if you pull up the GIS map that the city has, it's not been updated for a bit, but that kind of gives you an idea of how the public art is spread out. So it's kind of centered in the downtown core, but then spaced out throughout the city.
Thank you.
I know that there's one at least on Meridian and Victory, and then it's the north at least on Linder and Ustick. So I mean, it's a fair distance, and I think there's maybe even more beyond that. Any other questions?
Madam Chair and Commissioners, I think it's a very, very good idea from a practicality, because a maintained thing is going to look better than an unmaintained thing. Also, from the public relations standpoint, I'm driving by these traffic boxes and I'm seeing that they're being cleaned. Well, isn't that just a wonderful thing, because we like a clean city? I also like the idea of not doing them all at once, not necessarily for budget considerations, but since their installations were staggered, perhaps we could stagger the maintenance. I think it's a great idea. $30 a box, I think, for all that they do is very reasonable.
And it's $30 a box, right? Regardless of whether they need maintenance or not, right?
That is what their quote is for. And I did want to add one thing about the budget line that I was looking at is it's for other expenses. And under that, it says may include expenses associated with the Dairy Days and or Art Week. There's $1,450 in that. Art Week also has its own budget line item. So this is kind of a budget area that's, this would be one way to use that. And going forward, the city is looking at the fiscal year 23 already. And I have already made the recommendation that this should be a budget line item. Whether or not that gets approved, we don't know, but.
Madam Chair, is there any report or status on what the condition of those are?
Do you have anything? I mean, if something's been damaged, you get noticed, right? No?
No, there's no notice. It is really just someone going out and checking, which was done by the previous arts and culture coordinator in 2019. But it is just kind of a volunteer sort of thing to go out and also the traffic boxes are owned by ACHD. We have an agreement with them, but they sort of own the boxes. Hopefully they would let us know if they pulled one out, but potentially if they had to do some construction and things on it, the traffic box gets pulled out. So I think that that's happened at least once where it was, oh, this is gone.
Madam Chair, I feel like for simplicity's sake, it might be easier to have them all cleaned. Only because if then we're going through our list and figuring out the newest versus the oldest and then location, we might be sending them, here, there, and everywhere, where we're going to have to do that anyway at some point. So my recommendation would be to just clean them all this year and then maybe going forward do every other by, I don't know, geography or something, but.
North and south.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, I have a question. This is Jessica. And this is, I guess, for Cassandra as well. Do we know whether we have any traffic boxes that are due for a rewrapping? I know we may be getting close, but I didn't know if there were some that are sort of close to the end of their life or past their life that would maybe benefit from just putting a new piece of art on rather than having it cleaned.
And that is actually what happens in the urban renewal area. Those ones, because Meridian Development Corporation funds those, and they're specifically the West Ada School District, those ones get replaced on a more regular sort of basis. But there isn't, I have a document, but again, it hasn't been updated for a few years about conditions of old ones, and some of them have been replaced.
Okay.
The lifespan on the traffic boxes are usually 5 to 10 years. I'm not sure what this city's agreement is. I know Boise's sort of thinks of them as a temporary public art project that lasts 5 years. And I'd heard somewhere else that they were thinking 10 years for Meridian, but it's somewhere in there, just depends on the box and sunlight and cars going by. And
Any other discussion? Could we have a motion then to approve the expenditure of $1,800? There, I guess, is that for no more than $1,800 for the traffic box cleaning inspections and for this fiscal year?
Madam Chair, so moved that we approve the not to exceed $1,800 for cleaning and inspection of the traffic boxes this year.
Second?
I second that.
Thank you. Could I, all in favor of that expenditure?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion has been carried to proceed with the cleaning and inspection of the traffic boxes not to exceed $1,800. So number 9, upcoming planning budget for professional development. Cassandra?
So this is, again, going back to that professional development part of the budget line. And so I think put this on the agenda just to let everyone know that that's a discussion that we should have in the near future about potentially how to training conferences or other outreach efforts to use that professional development fund.
Upcoming, discuss performing arts budget and sponsorship requests.
And that one is related to the sponsorship request that we just had. So that will be in an upcoming meeting.
Okay. Moving on to reports, number 11, update on the Initial Point Gallery. Natalie?
Actually, Madam Chair, going to turn it over to Lizzie since she hosted the opening on Friday night.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, and thank you for that. It was an outstanding opening reception. I mean, resounding success. There were 55 people. The refreshments were absolutely beautifully done by Gina Brostmeyer, who is a TVAA member. When you go into the gallery on the right-hand side, Gina's art is this wonderful thing called green poppies. You have absolutely got to see it. Very proudly, I have 2 pieces. There was a lot of oohing, a lot of awing, a lot of picture taking. People had a really, really good time. Urge your friends and family to go see the exhibit. TVAA every year does a color theme exhibit. It was red one year, yellow another year, blue a couple of years ago, and this year it was green. And what I personally like, being a TVAA member and an exhibiting artist, is that it is a color-themed show, which allows more people to enter it. Case in point being personal, there is no way that I could enter a bicycle exhibit because I couldn't draw a bicycle under any set of circumstances. So it's a beautiful show. It's a lot of green, beautifully lit. Go and see it. Thank you.
And the next exhibit is Larry Balson, Benjamin Hunt, April Davis, Michael Norsk, and Gary Holt here. And the gallery host. You have.
So we could still use some volunteer hosts for the month of August, the month of November, and the month of December. If anyone would like to sign up.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair,
Jennifer?
I'd like to take August.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I will be hosting April, so I look forward to seeing you. And I need you to excuse me because I have to leave a little early. But thank you.
Thanks, Natalie. Cassandra, I'll do November. We just need a December.
Any takers for December?
Oh, what the heck, I'll do December.
You're covered. The hosting is covered.
Thank you very much.
Okay, any other notes about the show? Anything in regards to the gallery? Number 12 is an update on the Events and Outreach Subcommittee. Now Leslie's not here. Did she give you a report, Cassandra?
She did not give me a report. Perhaps Jennifer would like to, or I would be happy to give a report. Seeing as Jennifer is not volunteering, I'll give the report. So Art Week in the Events and Outreach Subcommittee sort of went over the schedule. It's very similar to the past year. One sort of change that was passed in the Events and Outreach Subcommittee was that the initial point gallery show for September was recommended to be changed to the Thursday during Art Week, as that will coincide with the Meridian Art Foundation's Art Sip event, which is also in City Hall. We talked about the Treasure Valley Fine Arts Festival partnering, and on a separate note for an update, that event has been canceled for this year. So that partnership won't happen this year, although the festival coordinator and director, Art Davies, would like to work with us in the future and would like that to be a long-term ongoing partnership. And I think that's all I have for the update.
Okay. Item number 13 is the Public Art Committee report. Bobby, would you like to do that, please?
Sure, yes. The Public Art Committee met and we had our guests in the room, the Parks and Rec. We had a really good presentation and we discussed a lot of things. So one of the key things that kind of came out of that were, so it's the name 10 Mile Trail Hub at 5 Mile Pathway was kind of a key theme, one of the key themes of the name change. But the Parks and Recs folks presented some really good key themes, water, creek imagery, park parts, pedestrian movement. But yeah, the 10 mile versus 5 mile was a little confusing. So that was brought up and we discussed kind of the potential of maybe changing that name. But yeah, there were some really good discussions regarding that. Some of the outcomes of this project was just to create a very theming element that gives the trailhead an identity. We discussed kind of having it be a landmark, the response to the site and the environment, scale and mass, and a potential of lighting power with an extra cost of around $5,000 to $10,000. So yeah, it definitely opened up a lot of good discussion, and then that kind of leads to the development of the RFQ.
Yes, so the next step on this was really that I was going to develop and it will be a two-part process, which is best practices in public art, which will be a request for qualifications first, and then a request for proposals, which does extend the deadline of public art projects, but it really is best practices. If you're asking artists to design $50,000 projects, really they should not be putting the designs and time and effort forward for free. So we put out a request for qualifications, so we get artists to apply with prior work, and at that point then pay them a stipend in order to move forward into a request for proposals. So I have begun drafting that, and we'll have a draft ready for the Public Art Subcommittee. But I did want to sort of work through that. I've worked through it a little bit with legal so far, but also with procurement and parks to make sure everybody's happy with the call before that is put out and moving into the next stage. So hopefully it will be ready for the Arts Commission to approve at the next meeting.
So big project moving forward with that, and we look forward to the next meeting and discussing those items.
Thank you, Bobby. Item number 14 on the agenda is the Arts and Cultural Coordinators Report.
Just, sorry, give me just a moment to try to get the presentation up on the screen. Sorry for moving back and forth, but I think I'll do the report from here. Okay, here's my staff report to the commission for our meeting on March 10th. So, okay, so I have some really great news. The key detail, excuse me, that's a typo in my PowerPoint. Mural at the Unbound Library. The Meridian Library approved the city's MOA at their board meeting, the memorandum. And so key detail legal drafted it and sent it off to they signed it and it was approved in council on Tuesday. So now that is ready to go into the design stages. And the design stages for this mural are really between the library and the artist. So that will go through an initial design and then a final design. And then the Arts Commission will look at the final design for approval. And we really hope to have this complete this summer. Yay. The Sector 17 mural, we in the Public Art Subcommittee, we're discussing a few other locations. And Commissioner Taylor did check into the Beehive Credit Union, but it only serves the LDS community, so that's not really an appropriate fit for the public art mural. And Grandio Greenhouse passed on the mural. The recreation manager, Garrett, hasn't been able to talk to Ward quite yet, but he will still be talking to the West Ada Recreation District about the potential location of the pool to gauge their interest. Public art plan. I met with Meredith McKinley from Via Partnership. If you remember the public art survey that they did with the city, that was a project that they did. Everyone seemed very happy. So I've asked them, well, what would it take? What would it cost to have them partner and contract for a public art plan? Meredith said it was likely that they could do it for under $30,000. Depends on the level of service. She sent me some sort of plan for the steps, which kind of might include a menu of options of things that we could include or not include for that. At this, I'm happy to have volunteers look at that plan to think about what things we want to include or not include. I'll also need to get 2 quotes from other companies. Forecast is one that I've identified because I know they've had some public art plans that we really liked, but I need to identify probably a third one. to look at what this would cost. And the next steps for that would be asking for a budget amendment, is that right? Budget amendment from council to see if we could get the funds for that. I'm working on that. Oh, here's Art Week overview. Some of the backing up to the Events and Outreach Subcommittee. There's kind of it's a tentative plan of events. The art drop is sort of the most popular event during Art Week, so definitely we'll be doing that again. The free art classes from Wednesday to Friday, actually also Saturday, because the Unbound Library has stepped up to tentatively schedule a 10 o'clock free art class on Saturday. Meridian Art Sip on Thursday, Initial Point Gallery opening on Thursday. The Community Art Party, we'll be working with Renee White. She's the event coordinator in Parks and Rec to have that event again. The chalk art competition happens on Saturday, and the concert on Broadway, that's a series of 3 concerts, but one of them will happen on the Saturday of Art Week. And something that we would like to bring back is the Tammy DeWeerds Awards in the Arts presented by the mayor during the concert. I also wanted to update about the social media. I've heard back from several people that they are very excited about our social media posts. We've had a lot more activity lately. Thanks in part to people who have submitted some ideas to me. Feel free to submit ideas. I have to be the one as city staff to schedule, approve, and post any social media things. The posts have to sort of be polished, sort of in the language from the city. They have to be appropriate. They have to be related to city activities. On the other hand, the stories on the social media are a bit more informal. So we can reshare things on the stories from things that are like opportunities, artists, calls to artists from other cities, local cities that are available to Meridian artists, events related to, or things like the Treasure Valley Artists Alliance or the Treasure Valley Children's Theater, or things from the National Endowment for the Arts or Idaho Commission on the Arts. So feel free to send me any suggestions or things that you'd like to reshare. I also need to be a little bit selective and picky because the city communications could, if they ever feel unhappy with what we're doing, then we might be able to do much less. So feel free to send them to me, and also please accept when I say, no, not this one. Okay, I wanted to give some shout outs to some people who stepped up for a couple of things. For the Initial Point Gallery, a couple of the hosts, and we have more now. A new host is Rhea, who will be hosting the show for the West Ada School District, which I think is excellent because she is also a student in the West Ada School District. Thank you, Rhea. In September, Jessica will be doing the show that's during Art Week, so that might be a busy one, and that one will be the College of Western Idaho show. And then I think we have the other ones covered now. Natalie has sent me some social media ideas, and Jessica Peters had some great ideas for International Sculpture Day, so thank you very much. Traffic box spreadsheet updates, Natalie, who's not here at the meeting anymore, but she sort of asked me if she could be doing more, and I'm really grateful and happy about that. And so helping with some of the traffic box spreadsheets and identifying the ones for West Ada School District that we need to replace. I also sort of picked on Bobby because he has a graphic design background and asked if he would be interested in designing the Meridian Art and Public Spaces logo. It was recommended that we have a separate logo identifying the public art funding and programming. So thank you, Bobby. So this job is a lot for one person. I think all of you know that, but everything in the agendas, all of the activities, I am sort of one staff person for all of the arts and culture programming. So if you are able to step up for anything, I really appreciate it, because a lot of the programming and a lot of the things that we want to have happen will not get done if we don't have help. So instead of this being a request to volunteers, this is actually a call to action. Okay, so the subcommittees. I really could use someone, please, if someone will step up to write the minutes for those subcommittees. The subcommittee meetings, they might be 30 minutes for the commissioners to attend, but they really do take me, even if it's a 30-minute meeting, to attend the meeting, to schedule the room, to do the agenda, to put together all the packets and to write the minutes. I mean, this is a 6 or 7 hour activity for me. So if someone could take the minutes for the subcommittees, that would be fantastic. Also, Emily, could you verify what actually needs to be in the minutes?
Yes. Should have read this right before I knew you were going to ask, but the statute just requires that we keep track of who was there and any action that was taken. So they could be very short and still be statutorily compliant. Summary minutes are not very juicy and satisfying. It doesn't really tell you exactly the tenor of the conversation or the context of everything that was discussed. But to comply, we really just need to be able to say just those very few things.
Emily, do they even need to say if you have an action item? And do you have to identify the people that made the motion, seconded it, or is it just that the motion was made and approved or disapproved?
Ideally, the minutes would say who made the motion, who made the second, and what the vote was. Shouldn't even say ideally. It does need to say that. That's part of describing the action in a way that's statutorily compliant, but it can just be one sentence. Typically, the minutes are a little bit longer to give more of a flavor of what happened, but they don't have to be.
And in the past, I think it's nice to know everything that everyone said and sort of what they stated, but they don't have to be in those subcommittee meeting minutes. If you look at the Public Art Subcommittee meeting minutes for the past, I sort of took what Emily told me to heart, and you'll see that there's really, instead of, saying who said what, it was like Parks and Recreation Commission or not commission, sorry, Parks and Rec. And the subcommittee had a discussion. I included the PowerPoint from the discussion and sort of a little bit about next steps, but it was, that was a 2-hour discussion. Maybe the whole meeting was 2 hours, I think, but it was well over an hour, but really there's just a paragraph for that. So it's nice to capture it, but really we just have to have the motions and who approved it and who was there. So anyone want to step up at the moment for their respective subcommittees? I'll let you think about that for a minute. Oh,
Madam Chair and Cassandra, now that I'm no longer facilitating the Public Art Subcommittee meetings, I'm happy to take those.
thank you, Commissioner Jessica Peters. I have a feeling, although Commissioner Natalie Schofield isn't here, she might be willing to do that on that committee. We don't have, I think this is maybe a next, let's see. No. We might have more people on the events and outreach upcoming meeting, depending on who wants to, I guess I'll just, I don't know that I have this on a thing, but is there anyone who would like to join the events and outreach subcommittee? Because that committee could use a little bit of extra revitalization.
Madam Chair, Cassandra, I would join that committee.
Excellent.
Cassandra, I'll do minutes for the gallery.
Thank you, Bonnie. Okay, another volunteer that I would really like to identify, if there is anyone who has some experience with spreadsheets and Microsoft Excel and experience with budgets. We don't have treasurers per se on the commissions at this point, but this would be sort of someone who act in the similar capacity. We would call them a budget advisor. I personally, I don't have a lot of experience doing spreadsheets with the budget, but that's something I'd like to do some more budget planning. So if there's anybody who would like to work to come up with some budget and spreadsheet plans, I would really appreciate that.
Madam Chair, Cassandra, I've got some experience doing budgets, so we can sit down and talk about it and see what we can come up with. So, yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Another thing, this is coming up in the Events and Outreach Subcommittee. I haven't had time to draft the Tammy DeVeers Awards for the arts call for nominations. So we want to put out a call for nominations. The arts commissioners might do the letters or other people might do the letters. So this could be a fairly simple sort of thing, but if someone wanted to sort of design and put together a call for nominations, I'd really be happy for help with that.
So Cassandra, we did put out a call in 18. Is that a document that could be modified for 22?
Okay, I haven't seen that in the files. I will look to see if there's an existing one that we could modify. That would be helpful. That would save me from coming up from scratch.
Cassandra and Madam Chair, if there is a document that could be looked at and or modified, I would be very happy to work on that.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. Again, a lot of these are in the events and outreach. So beginning the drafting of Art Week classes, the library is one, but just sort of, if anybody wants to sort of take that on as a project to do the schedule for the Art Week classes, reaching out to the instructors and sort of be the person that heads up the scheduling and coordinating for art classes. That's something I'd be happy to have someone volunteer for. And we could talk about that in the next events and outreach one. Oh, this is an optional thing. And again, this is in the events and outreach. Public Works has an event on June 8th. And they would be happy to have the commission have a booth, which would be could be anything that the commission wants, but if we wanted to do that, then somebody would need to step up to sort of organize, set up, maintain, and man the activity booth at the Public Works event. We had a similar idea for the Treasure Valley Fine Arts Festival and didn't have anyone who sort of wanted to spearhead that booth, but that is the type of activity that would require some volunteer commitment and interest from the commission. So if somebody wants to do that, heads up, that would be a great thing to volunteer to do. Okay, my final volunteer ask is a little bit odd because it is actually asking for someone to step down from the Public Art Subcommittee because now that we have a new commissioner who is on the Public Art Subcommittee, that puts 5 commissioners on the Public Art Subcommittee, which makes it a MAC quorum. So it would have to be properly noticed and sort of there's just a lot of, if anyone is willing to volunteer to step down from the Public Art Subcommittee, that would help us to continue to run those meetings as they are now. And this is something that needs to be addressed before the next meeting, which is on Tuesday.
Sandra and Madam Chair, I really love working on public art, but I'll take one for the team. And if you need somebody to step down, I'll do it. I don't want to, but I will. It's like I don't need kale, but I will if I have to.
Madam Chair and Cassandra, this is Jessica. I would suggest, Cassandra, if you're able to just send an email to the whole committee, because I know that Tom is on the Public Arts Subcommittee and he is also on the Events and Outreach Subcommittee. So not that I want to see anyone leave the subcommittee, because I think everyone has played a really valuable role, but if there are commissioners who are on multiple committees, maybe those would be the first ones to consider which one they would want to stick with and which one they would want to give up. So that would be my suggestion. Not volunteering any specific person to drop off, but just as a consideration for how to approach this.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, Cassandra, everybody else. I think Tom has been an absolutely excellent contributor to public arts, given his professional background and his personal and professional outlook toward public art. However, Tom is a really, really busy man. And while I don't think he would welcome stepping down, because I think he really likes it, he might kind of go, one less thing on a very, very overloaded plate. So I will do it, but I think, and having nothing whatsoever to do with Tom, but he's busier than a lot of other people. So very good suggestion.
Is there anybody else that wouldn't mind going to a different subcommittee? Who all's on that committee? Lizzie? Rhea? Are you interested, Rhea, in going to a different committee for a while?
I mean, possibly. I do really enjoy the public art subcommittee, and as like an artist myself, that really like doing like public art is really personal to me. So I really appreciate being on that committee because I just have more of a connection to that kind of a thing, more input. But I don't know, it would depend on my scheduling, just with school and everything going on.
I mean, since you're an artist, maybe you'd like to be on the gallery committee for a while.
Again, it's all depending on like when the meetings are and when I can,
It's all depending on what?
when the meetings are and if school or other things I'm supposed to go to as a student conflicts with.
So we can think about this and when is that next subcommittee?
So the next subcommittee meeting is on Tuesday, and I do need to notice that agenda on Monday. So I will send out an email to the Public Arts Subcommittee, and hopefully we can sort of sort that out and get feedback from the Commissioner Tom, who's not here at the moment. So we will resolve that by end of day on
That's a hard
Friday,
one.
right?
Thank you.
Okay. That's it for this presentation, the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you, Cassandra. The final item on the agenda is the inclusivity highlight. March is Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. Did you have something, Cassandra, for that?
Okay, so for the video to work, it has to be played by somebody who is online. Jessica, are you able to share that?
Yes, I can. Let me get that set up.
And as an introduction, the month of March is Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, and the commission occasionally highlights different inclusivity activities. So this month, we're watching a 5-minute video about Open Arms Dance Project, which is a local organization that is inclusive, and hope you enjoy.
Pardon the dog. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. I hope, I don't know if you can hear my dog. He just barked at the UPS, who is his mortal enemy. So hopefully he'll be quiet now.
You know, let me tell you a story. My sister always has been involved with Open Arms.
Are you able to turn it up?
And now, she told me, you've got to come to see our performances. You have to come see this. I'm involved with this inclusive dance project that is for people with disabilities of all ages. And I know you're going to love it. Come to our performance. I finally made it to a performance.
Jessica, is that the highest you can turn your volume up?
Overcome with emotion. Open arms.
Sandra, are you saying something?
It's pretty quiet on our end. Are you able to turn the volume up at all?
Let me see. It's up as high as it can go here. It's pretty loud on my end. So I don't know if you guys are able to turn up your speakers.
With the Zoom room, our volume is kind of set at one level. Okay, so I
Okay.
think I'd love to be able to share videos, but that does seem to be a technology challenge. So I think because it's so quiet and we can't hear the audio, I would just encourage everyone to watch it on their own time. I'll send it out in an email tomorrow.
Can you hear the audio at all? Is it just really quiet?
It's barely audible. We can hear it, but it's almost non-existent.
Okay. Let me try this.
with other people to be able to show them this is what we're doing.
All right, everybody. Maybe I'll take it back to the beginning.
Let me tell you a story. My sister Ollie has been involved with Open Arms for quite some time now, and she would tell me, you've got to come and see our performances. You have to come see this. I'm involved with this inclusive dance project that is for people with disabilities of all ages, and I know you're gonna love it. Come to our performance. I finally made it to a performance, and I was just overcome with emotion. Open Arms Dance Project is one of those things that you can't exactly describe. It's this completely all-encompassing, beautiful thing that you just have to see. And that's why what we're doing here right now is so important and so powerful, to be able to share this with other people, to be able to show them this is what we're doing.
All right, everybody ready? We're going to start in silence, and then I'll pass Lacey the guitar. Take a deep breath in.
When my dad developed ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease, prior to that he'd been a super charismatic, friendly person, and then as soon as he had to use a wheelchair, he disappeared to people, and nobody looked at him or waved at him or listened to him, and that broke my heart. What I really like about Open Arms is I have the power to put people on stage where they are seen and heard and looked at and acknowledged.
The other piece for me is that Open Arms Dance Project, the way that we work together, we accept each human being, whatever their abilities, whatever their natural way of moving. Everybody in our group has ideas about creating movement, and we're always welcoming that. I think that's very special.
When I was younger, I used to love dance, and I just fell in love. I do feel powerful when I dance.
I just really enjoy dancing. It will keep me calm.
Well, most dance programs are only for people who don't have disabilities and stuff. So I think it's really amazing how they put this together. And I wanted to do it because I wanted to be part of it. And I've always really liked dancing.
I mean, when you see an audience stand up, bawling, and then they come to you and they really don't have anything to say. They don't know what to say. They just are profoundly moved by what they've seen. That might not even be our intention at all. And wow, look what it has done. Look what it's doing. So, yeah.
She used to watch the dances on TV. She had no idea what it was like to move free. Tears began to well up in her eyes, and her brother turned to her and said, "Please don't cry."
This is going to help so many people move and be able to express themselves, to empower them, to be the people that they really ultimately are outside of whatever anybody thinks about them. That's a dancer. That's who these people who are in this dance project are. They're dancers.
'Cause it's your turn to shine. It's your turn to feel.
Above and beyond whatever labels they have at school or at work or at home or whatever it is, this gives them an opportunity to be something that's just like someone else that's a dancer, you know, and let their heart shine. That's what Open Arms is. It's open arms.
It's your turn to be real.
Thanks for bringing that video to life for us.
You know, let me tell you a story.
Sorry.
So that's the last agenda item. The next meeting is April 14th. And at this time, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The meeting has now been adjourned. Thank you all for attending. Appreciate your time that you put into the commission. Have a great
Bye,
evening.
everyone.
Bye-bye.